what are kind of the biggest obstacles that you face while starting your business? And particularly, maybe you can say one around biggest obstacle, and then in terms of actually starting a legitimate business in the States, because that's a whole nother set of obstacles and challenges. So if you could speak to both of those things.
Whew, man, lack of resources, I would say, because I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. My mom and my dad, they were, old school. They were pushing me to get a job, job at the city, worked there for 20 years, and then retire. And it's just like, I know they were trying to encourage me, but it's like every time they told me that, I was just like, yeah, it's like, it just discouraged me even more. It's like, this isn't helping. But yeah, so I didn't have really like an entrepreneur figure to just guide me like, hey, here's a small business resource, or go to the Chamber of Commerce and there's resources here, or go to this small business workshop. It was kind of like boots on the ground, researching and finding things out myself. But yeah, it was a lot of bootstrapping because, like I said, it was literally me figuring things out, like finagling and making things work, like getting a membership at the local public access studio, paying for that, membership, taking these classes. When I pass these classes, it gives me access to that equipment. So it's like they have millions of dollars of studio equipment that you can rent out, but it's based on availability. So it's just like there were some things I wanted to cover, but unfortunately, all these other filmmakers have checked out the equipment, so there was nothing left. So it was like I was at the mercy of availability. So yeah, it was a lot of trying to figure things out, calling friends I knew were photographers and videographers, like, hey, I got this thing I'm trying to do. Can I borrow your camera or something like that? Bunch of borrowing equipment and things like that. So it's just like making things work, not coming up with excuses, but just finding solutions once again, and making things work. So I'll say that was the biggest hurdle, was just finding those resources, because there was a lot of bootstrapping and pouring my own money. So when people say, should I get a job or should I, pursue my business hardcore? And it's just like, well, why is it an or? Why is it an and? It's just like, get a job and do your business. Like, let the job invest. Look at your job as investor in your company. Pay your bills, get your meals and all that kind of stuff, but set aside money to go into your business. So it's like, if you're doing that over time, that just builds up, and then it's like you have a budget for your business. So that was me finding a lot of those things out myself, not necessarily being told that. So it's, like I said, a bunch of trial and error. From 2009 all the way until 2019, we were a video production company, publication. So it was a lot of news going through a media organization covering all these prominent events, video production company. So we had big projects here and there with the city, contracts, things like that. But it was never consistent. It was like all over the place. But that was because of the lack of systems. COVID was a blessing in itself, because ironically, that was the first time I start questioning that my then business's 11-year history of whether we would survive. Because literally, South by Southwest is usually my bread and butter, because we usually have like 5-6 contracts for South by Southwest, because all these companies come in and they need video companies to come in and do their activations. So when they canceled South by Southwest in 2020, I lost 5-6 contracts with that alone. So I didn't panic, but one by one, because I was like, well, we got more events all throughout the year. And then as COVID progressed, and there was just like no more large scale events, one by one, clients were calling in like, hey, we're going to cancel this, we're going to cancel this. So it was like really putting my critical thinking cap on and using my technical expertise to figure out, okay, what's going to be the next big thing? Like, my back was up against the wall, and I was putting on a smiling face because like I said, I was doing an internship at that time too. I had 2 interns. So we were getting on Zoom calls, and I'm putting on a smiling face for them and everything. Like, guys, that's all right. We're gonna progress through this, and I'll get back to you to see if we're gonna continue the internship. If we do, what that looks like and things like that. But I was like, y'all, we're gonna get through this. This is nothing. It's just like a little hurdle in the road. We'll get through this. Then as soon as I disconnect, it's just like I was like giving myself a motivation talk as I'm talking to them and trying to motivate them. It's like I was literally motivating myself, because I get off the call and I'm just like panicking, like what am I gonna do? But I saw everything was going virtual, so it was just basically putting all my time and resources towards these virtual platforms. And that ended up being the business's saving grace, not even the saving grace, the thriving grace, because it's like everything that happened from 2009 to 2019, it's like it's like it was just condensed in that little time of 2020, from I would say April until the end of the year. It's just like 2 year or 8 years, 9 years worth of stuff was all condensed in that little time, because COVID really just, okay, Colin, you got to get systems in place. Colin, you got to do this. You got to do this. So it's like that was the year we LLC. That's the year Amaz1n Entertainment Productions became Amaz1n Media LLC. So with that LLC came all the paperwork. We had to get the state operating agreement. Have to get our EIN number through the IRS. So, but literally, with all of the success I was coming in, because we basically figured out, like I did the deep dive and learned all of these platforms. And then I figured, because like I'm very tech savvy, it took me a month and a half to learn these programs and these platforms. It's going to take your average Joe 3 times, 4 times longer to learn this. So it's like they're not going to have the time, resources to do this. 2, they need to get their product service out right now. 3, they're just going to be they're not going to be motivated to do this. So let's just do it for them. So the interns actually went through with me through this transition. I was just like, yo, let's scrap everything else we're doing for this remote internship. We're focusing on this now. And it was literally just doing mock events and through that kind of stuff, like figuring out the platform, make sure we had it figured out. Once we thought we had it, then we did like a soft release. We did an event. We got some feedback. We kind of tweaked it. Then we rolled out like hardcore. I could see that there was going to be a demand for it. So I actually staffed up, hired 2 more people. So I had a total of 4 people working for me. And that wasn't even enough. It was like literally just a wall of opportunity. So with that wall opportunity, that overwhelming came. I was almost at the point of burnout again, because I was giving everybody my time and attention, like on Zoom calls. I wasn't charging for consultations. I wasn't doing any of these things. So I was just like, Colin, record your processes so you don't have to be on these calls. Get these systems in place. So I was like forced to get all these systems in place. I started hiring people from social media manager, brand strategists, webmasters, all these strategists basically that could put these systems in place, put my back office in place, and it literally just started making sense, and having those systems work for me. It's like work smarter, not harder.